everyone, welcome back. This is episode 8 of Riding Backwards podcast. I'm Jason Klink, your host, and this is my take from riding in the backseat of a fire engine for many, many years and working in public safety. Today I wanted to talk about longevity in the fire service, and the reason I wanted to talk about this was based on a post I saw from one of my fellow firefighters who had made a post about the fire service needed to stop looking backwards so it could start progressing forward. And it's a very interesting statement. I think we can't lose sight on what we've done in the past and the roads we've traveled, the incidents we've been on, the solutions we found to problems over the years, because I think it really gives us foresight into the future. You know, firefighters are notoriously problem solvers. And they can get very ingenuitive. They can get very creative when it comes to finding solutions to problems. I think back, and this goes back decades and decades, almost 100 years ago, where two fire chiefs in my home department had gotten very creative based on the fact that they used to have to pull off an entire length or an entire hose bed to be able to disconnect hose and put it into the side of the old pumpers in order to put a fire out. It's very time consuming. A lot of times in the winter, the hoses would freeze up and it just didn't work all that great. And these two fire chiefs got together, put their heads together, and created what is now known as the pre-connect crosslay that most fire engines have in order to save time and be more efficient on the fire ground. As you look forward in time, you see all kinds of different inventions and creations when it comes to the fire service, from the gear that we wear to the equipment that we use. Where we would be now without thermal imaging cameras or even the jaws of life, as they call them, the several pieces of extrication tools that are out there. I think a lot of the problem lies in the organizational model. I think the fire service is very resistant at getting rid of the 1950s organizational model, especially when it comes to the volunteer firehouses. And because of this, more and more people are leaving and not coming back. And that dwindles down the ranks of the volunteer firehouses to the point where it's very difficult to serve the communities we're sworn to protect. The career houses, they don't have such a difficult time for the most part. I mean, there may be some short staffing situations here and there, but when firefighters are looking to make a career out of fighting fires, there's usually a decent candidate pool when it comes to really the best job in the world. The volunteer houses have been slow to evolve. They're grasping tight on the days of yesteryear. That 1950s organizational model will still attract people in the neighborhood to participate in the firehouses, and depending on how many calls that they have, run in and out of their house day in and day out, leaving their family at dinner time, leaving their family at holidays, just doesn't work anymore. Realistically, most families, the adults in the house are working 2 and 3 jobs in order to, pay the bills. And spending hours in the firehouse, either training or answering calls, just doesn't work in their lifestyles. It was just over probably a year and a half ago that I started engaging or re-engaging in my volunteer firehouse. And I sat in a couple of business meetings and listening to the chiefs almost beg the membership to participate, to answer more calls, to go to more training. And, even in my old home station, there was more people leaving than there were coming in. And the current chief now, back a year and a half ago, who was almost heir apparent to the position, had come to me and a few others and asked for help. He recognized that things weren't going well and things needed to change. And that was the first thing that I said. You need to change something, because what you're doing isn't working. And right now you're spinning your wheels and almost to the definition of insanity. If the volunteer fire world, if the volunteer firehouses don't start looking at how they can make it easier for people to participate, those people, those really experienced veteran firefighters are just going to keep leaving. The fact that we don't allow volunteer firefighters to schedule their time in the firehouse, to understand that their time is very finite, and that if we could ask of them to schedule their time, give us 16 or 20 hours a month, just come in and sit in the firehouse for a couple hours here, a couple hours there, go to training, help us answer calls, make it easier for these people to participate. A lot of times, we expect folks to come to training, but they may have children to take care of, a spouse that's working out odd hours, and they just can't fit it in. But why not broadcast your training, your classroom training, your drills over the internet? Use Google Meet, use Zoom, allow them to participate from home, even though they can't be in-house in the station. Now I get it, the hands-on training, that's not going to work. I understand that. You don't have to point that out to me. But the classroom drills, the classroom training, why not? The business meetings, why not put it over Zoom or Google Meet and allow them, people that have to be at home still participate from their living room. They don't necessarily have to be sitting next to you in a chair. These are all, different ideas that could be deployed within the fire service to help progress forward. And I've heard it before, it's worked this way for 50 years. Why do we have to change it now? We have to change it now. You're not attracting any more qualified candidates with the way that you're operating under that 1950s organizational model. We're notorious, and I've said it before, of over 150 years of tradition impeding progress, but it's time to embrace that progress. I've already seen where smaller volunteer firehouses have closed their doors because they just don't have people. Their communities aren't supporting the need for volunteer firefighters. The training's more extensive, it takes more time. And if we don't find a way to make it easier, nobody's coming back through those doors. A majority of communities across my area are full of rental properties. You don't have the majority as homeowners. So the renters come and go, they filter in and out. But if we can grasp on to the ability to allow people to schedule their time, those veteran experienced firefighters just may come back, and I've already seen it happen. So I just wanted to share these thoughts based on that post today. Let's start thinking outside the box. Let's start getting creative, because creativity has really lasted the test of time in the fire service over the last 150 years. I'd love to hear your comments. Please share this video, this podcast. I'm trying to build a small community around it. But drop your comments. Let me know what you think, good, bad, or indifferent. I'll embrace all opinions and all stories and everything that you have to say. So with that, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be safe, and have a great day.